Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of Blureel Studios. On the 2020 wrap-up party, I talked about the fact that I wanted to do or redo my Steelbook Collection video because I wasn't really content with the mixing and audio quality of that video. So I wanted to do it again, and this time with all of the new Steelbooks included, of course. And Leo, again, wants to intervene. But before we start off with the Steelbook Collection, let's start off with the intro. Roll the intro! You're... Alright, just you get comfortable up there, and I'll get comfortable down here, alright? Are you comfortable? Alright, let's start off this episode with Two Guns starring Mark Wahlberg and Denzel Washington. A fun buddy cop kind of film without them actually being cops of sorts. It's a crime kind of comedy action film. It's enjoyable, and the Steelbook is pretty nice. I like it a lot. 10 Chlorophyll Lane, fantastic film. Love this one. Great performances, very suspenseful, very well made, and I even like the ending. Some people don't, but I really do like the ending. 10 Cloverfield Lane. Zack Snyder's 300, fantastic Steelbook. This is the 4K Steelbook. Love this movie. Back in the day when it was released, I used to watch it on repeat. When the credits rolled, rewind to the beginning, watch it again. Love this movie. Sam Mendes in 1917, fantastic war film. Not the best, certainly, but very, very well done. Roger Deakins, fantastic cinematographer, and really nailed this film, in my opinion. Brad Pitt in Space in Ad Astra. Yeah, I like this film a lot. It's a fantastic sci-fi film with some impressive visuals and a very compelling story. The Adventures of Tintin as a Belgian. This had to be in my collection. Not my favorite Steelbook. I don't really like the design of this one, especially that since the back is just skin toned for some reason. One of the latest additions to the family, AI Artificial Intelligence by Steven Spielberg, a passion project from Stanley Kubrick, who unfortunately wasn't able to actually direct the film himself, but being a good friend, Steven Spielberg took on the task and made, in my opinion, a very compelling, although very flawed sci-fi masterpiece. I like that film. I haven't seen it in quite a while, but I do really like the film. Alita Battle Angel 3D. Love this film. Fantastic. Robert Rodriguez and James Cameron joined. Really like this film a lot. I think it's fantastic, and I really hope we can get a sequel at some point, because financially, the film didn't do really that well, and which is unfortunate because I really like this film. It has some fantastic action, some impressive visual effects, and a lead character that I really think is quite awesome. Amadeus, Director's Cut, a film that I have yet to watch, but I hear a lot of great things about, and the Steelbook is magnificent. American Sniper by Clint Eastwood starring Bradley Cooper and Sienna Miller. I think it's a fantastic war film, but questionable biopic. Let me just put it that way. Apocalypse Now, the final cut. Talked about this in a previous episode of Blureel Studios, showcased the entire content of this edition, which is vast and numerous. A lot of discs in this one. One of my favorite films of all time, Arrival. Beautiful Steelbook. Beautiful movie by one of my favorite directors working today, Denis Villeneuve. Avengers Infinity War, Lenticular 3D Steelbook. Beautiful Steelbook. Talked about this one in my wrap-up party. Another Steelbook for Avengers Infinity War. My favorite one out of the bunch. Beautiful artwork. Talked about this one as well in my wrap-up party. Avengers Endgame, Lenticular. This is the favorite one of the Endgame ones because the second one isn't that great, but first the back, of course, which is awesome. Avengers Endgame, the original Steelbook, which, like I said, is not my favorite, but still well made for most part, you know. Baby Driver. Love the pink, love the artwork. I wish this was the front actually, but still, I like this artwork, but I like this one better. And it comes with 2 discs, one of which is the Blu-ray, of course, and the other one is the CD, the soundtrack on CD. Bad Boys for Life, the 4K Steelbook. Fun movie, the best out of the series. Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, which I recently acquired. I own 2 copies of this one. This is the original release on Blu-ray, which is a tiny bit different. A tiny bit different. Ever so slightly different. And of course, The Dark Knight Rises. What are you doing? What are you doing? Now, continue. Ooh, alright. Be good. The fear on my face. Jesus. Alright, we have Blade. Wesley Snipes. Marvel made a fantastic, a lot of fun vampire movie about a vampire hunter called Blade. We all know the story. This is actually a slipcover, which inside holds the 4K steelbook for Blade. I cannot wait for Marvel's reintroduction of Blade into the MCU. I'm really excited about that one, and I'm really hoping they make it R-rated, which will be interesting to see how they're gonna pull that off with the rest of the MCU being quite PG-13ish, you know what I mean? So we'll see what happens there. Bohemian Rhapsody, not my favorite steelbook, and the film itself was pretty good. It's not fantastic. It features a great performance, let me just say that. Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, the 3D reversible steelbook, which is a fun concept. I like that a lot. And comes with 3 discs, the Ultimate Cut, the theatrical cut, and of course the 3D version of the film. Black Hawk Down. But yeah, very intense war film. If you want a grounded take on modern warfare, this is the film to watch. It's very intense, very well made. The sound design is amazing. The performances are fantastic. Tom Hardy's in this film in a minor role before he became Tom Hardy as we know him today, but he was in this film. Also, Orlando Bloom is in this movie. You might not expect to see him here, but he is. Fantastic film, beautiful steelbook, and yeah, very gritty, suspenseful war film that if you're a fan of war, you can stomach some violent scenes, then you should definitely check this one out. Black Panther, rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman, legend. Was sad to see. It breaks my heart because he was such a talented actor, and he has done some incredible things, one of which is actually portraying this character, Black Panther. The film itself, I think, is kind of overhyped, and it's not my favorite of the MCU. I think this is like a solid 6 out of 10. It's not as great as it could have been or maybe should have been, but I do appreciate and respect its significance in pop culture, of course, and it's still a fun movie for all intents and purposes, but it could have been better. It features some fantastic characters and character arcs and storylines, but it all kind of fizzles out in a terrible CGI fight that looks like garbage. I cannot understand how that got approved, how that got put into the film without anyone saying like, this looks like shit. And it does. It kind of deserved better, especially for the significance this film holds. It should have been better. Blade Runner, the final cut, the 4K steelbook, which is like the new lineup of steelbooks that Warner Brothers is releasing for its classic or iconic sci-fi films, including Cloud Atlas has one, The Forbidden Planet has one. You saw AI moments ago, and this is another one of them, and this is like my favorite because it's Blade Runner. It looks absolutely stunning. It's beautiful. Still in the plastic, and I'm gonna keep it that way. Blade Runner 2049, this is a special steelbook because I found this one in Spain, and it's the third copy, or the third different steelbook that I own for this film, and the other ones will follow shortly. Blade Runner 2049, the worldwide art steelbook. Beautiful. Love this poster design, love this artwork. The Blair Witch Project, yeah, fantastic film. Very significant in modern day movie culture, of course. It kind of started the hype of these found footage type of films, which of course Cannibal Holocaust was doing that first, but this one just exploded onto the mainstream, and it was such a hype, and it brought forth an era of some great found footage films and a lot of dog shit. Mel Gibson in Bloodfather. This film is actually pretty damn great. It's directed by Jean-François Richet, who also directed the double feature of Mazrine, Public Enemy #1, Part 1 and 2. Two films that you should definitely check out. It's the story about a crime boss or a criminal, a French criminal, the most wanted man in France at some point in recent history, and it's a pretty damn great film. And this one is no exception. This is actually very gritty, very violent, and well-made film that features a fantastic performance by Mel Gibson, who proves that he is a freaking badass. When he puts himself, through it, he can provide a fantastic performance, and the steelbook is pretty damn awesome. Look just how buff he is. He's a machine. Yeah, like this film a lot. It's not perfect. It's not a masterpiece, but it's a very well-made film. Bram Stoker's Dracula by Francis Ford Coppola, and starring Gary Oldman as the titular character Dracula, and Keanu Reeves with what has to be the worst, absolute worst English British accent I've ever heard. But he tried, at least. This film is not perfect. I think it's a visual and technical masterpiece, but it's in service of some iffy performances on Keanu's part and some cheesy plot developments. It's a long film as well. It's not for everyone, but I do appreciate the technical aspect of this film. It's a stunning movie to look at, but you kind of have to be patient and put yourself through it, because it's not a easy or fun watch, let me just say that. But the steelbook looks beautiful. I love this artwork. It's dark and sinister, and look at that silhouette. Look at the Mickey Mouse ears. Alright, that's the first batch of steelbooks. Let me just get another one, but first we have to put these back on the shelf. So, going into the second batch of steelbooks, starting off with Cabin in the Woods, the 4K steelbook. Fantastic horror film, very clever in a lot of ways, and even the title is kind of an indication of what this film was trying to do. It's directed by Drew Goddard, but written by Joss Whedon and Drew Goddard. And Joss Whedon, of course, the man behind the Avengers 1 and 2, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, fantastic film. Definitely a must-watch if you're a fan of horror, and if you're kind of aware of the history of horror films and horror cliches, to be more specific. Yeah, love this movie. Fantastic film. Captain Phillips by Paul Greengrass, starring Tom Hanks as the titular character. I actually like the steelbook quite a bit, and I have yet to watch the film. I know, right? It's a damn shame. Captain Marvel, the 3D steelbook. Not my favorite. Not even my favorite MCU film, but it's fun for what it is. Casino by Martin Scorsese, one of my favorite films of all time. Fantastic movie, starring Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, of course, Sharon Stone. Love this movie so much, and the steelbook is absolutely beautiful. Casino, the 4K steelbook. Beautiful design, beautiful artwork. Yeah. Conan the Barbarian, starring none other than the Schwarzenegger himself, Arnold, the artwork is badass. Love this thing. And I've yet to watch it. I know, right? Ugh, I'm so ashamed of myself. Creed. A kind of a soft reboot of the Rocky franchise in a fantastic way. And yeah, I love this movie. Stallone is amazing in this picture. He's such a terrific actor, and in this film he proves it again that he is so great if he wants to. Yeah, I love this movie. Love the fight sequences in it. Love the story. Love the fact that Creed is the one continuing this one. I love it so much. Creed 2, fantastic sequel. Not as good as Creed 1, but still really, really good. And giving Rocky 4 that much more credibility or weight and emotional impact that film doesn't really deserve, in my opinion. It's cheesy as hell. It's a dumb film. I like it for what it is, of course, but it's a really dumb movie. But this film actually makes Rocky 4 even better, believe it or not. But Creed 2 is pretty great. Django Unchained by Quentin Tarantino, one of the best Western films that has come out in recent years. I love this movie, love these performances. They're all fantastic. DiCaprio, one of my favorite actors of all time, just going for it. But Jamie Foxx, understated but very intimidating when he wants to be. Really love this performance by all of these actors. They're all fantastic in the film. Love this movie. Deepwater Horizon, starring Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. Yeah, this film is amazing. I love this movie so much. It's so great. Peter Berg directed the living crap out of this movie. He also directed Lone Survivor and Patriots Day, which I also really like. But Deepwater Horizon holds a special place in my heart because I saw it for the first time on my own television with headphones on, and the sound design is just superb. And when this thing explodes, every single time I see it, it gets me, you know. I feel sorrow for these people who are involved, and the fact that this film exists and it tells a story about the human tragedy that happened on this rig, I think is so important, because of course the ecological disaster has been talked about to hell and back and is of course a very significant part of our recent history. But the fact that this movie tells a story about heroes that were going to work and were working hard to feed their families and were struck by a disaster beyond their control is, yeah, I love this movie. Fantastic steelbook, and you should definitely watch it. This was my number 3 film of 2016 when it was released. I love this movie so much in fact that I got a different steelbook, and this one I like even more. I love the fact that the oil spill just comes out like it's a creature coming from the depths. I think that's fantastic. Love this design, love this steelbook, and the back is fantastic as well. One of the worst steelbooks that I own is this one, District 9. Talked about it in the 2020 Rapper Party, but I love this movie and I didn't have it on Blu-ray yet, so this was the perfect opportunity to pick it up. And even if it's in a god-awful steelbook, which this one is, definitely. Al Pacino in Dog Day Afternoon. Love this movie. You should definitely seek this one out and see it because it's phenomenal. It's one of the greatest films to come out of the 70s, and that's an era of a lot of great movies. So yeah, love this steelbook, love this movie, love Al Pacino. So definitely seek this one out. Don't Breathe. Fun, suspenseful horror film. Not perfect, but it features an unhinged performance by this guy right here, who is legitimately creepy. And of course, you know I have to do this now, right? So let's do the face-off thing, right? Yeah, I love this. Yeah, not love it, but I like this film quite a bit. It's pretty damn great. Dragon Ball Super Broly, the movie. Amazing. I am such a sucker for Dragon Ball Z. I used to watch it religiously when I was a kid. Me and my cousin used to love this show and love this series. And this film is really fantastic. It showcases why Dragon Ball Z is such a phenomenon, because it features fantastic animation, great fight sequences, and a compelling story that legitimately impacted me. I love this movie, and the fact that Broly is now part of the official canon of Dragon Ball Z makes this film even better. And the Steelbook, of course, is beautiful. The fact that it was released in a Steelbook blows my mind. And here he is, the legendary Super Saiyan himself, Broly. Dunkirk by Christopher Nolan. Almost an experimental film, certainly in terms of structuring and editing. But I really love this movie, and I love the Steelbook. And like I said in a previous episode, there's something about Steelbooks by Christopher Nolan that just hit different. The sparks they just pop in a different kind of way. And yeah, I love the Steelbook. I love Tom Hardy. He's a fantastic in the film. And yeah, it's not Saving Private Ryan. Don't expect anything like that. It's very different. It's an exercise in suspense rather than character development. And in that way, I still really love this movie a lot. The dogfight scenes are amazing. Dunkirk, the French 4K Steelbook. Not my favorite, but I have it. That's another batch of Steelbooks down the throat. Let's get another one. This is going to be a long video, so grab yourself something to drink, some ice cubes in your drink, something to eat, whatever, and let's just enjoy the ride as long as it may take. Up next, we have E.T. the Extraterrestrial, directed by Steven Spielberg, and a classic in my opinion. Love this movie so much. I used to watch it religiously as a kid, and rewatching it recently, it's really, really great still. It's such a fun film, it's such a well-made film, and an emotionally impactful one as well. And Steven Spielberg at his A game with this film. And of course, if you're wondering where the emblem logo comes from, it's from this scene right here. Love this movie, love this Steelbook. It looks stunning, just gorgeous. The Equalizer, starring Denzel Washington, directed by Antoine Fuqua, who also directed Training Day. Yeah, this film is pretty solid. I think it's a fun film. Certainly not his best, but a really well-made film in a lot of ways. And the Steelbook is average, but I have it. Evil Dead 2. Beautiful Steelbook. Just completely bonkers in terms of artwork. Look at that artwork. Just, oh, so great. The Exorcist, Extended Director's Cut Steelbook. Yeah, classic. The Fifth Element, love this Steelbook. It's so beautiful. And the film is alright, I want to say. It's not the best sci-fi film, but it is very creative and interesting, but it's certainly not Bruce Willis's best. But he does really put on a performance in this film, so there's that. The Fifth Element, and also Gary freaking Oldman is in this movie. So, one of the best performances by James McAvoy, and that's saying a lot because he's a fantastic actor. Filth, love this movie so much. The fact that this got released on a Steelbook that is so beautiful, with debossing and the color palette being awesome. I just love this movie so much, and yeah, it's like one of my favorite performances by James McAvoy. It's such a great film. You should definitely seek this one out. It's disturbing, it's dark, but at times it's very funny, it's very charming, if you want to call it that, with a main character that is very compelling and interesting, but not really likable. But you can't help but root for him because there's a lot more going on than you might expect at first glance. I love this movie so much. It's fantastic. It's definitely a must-buy on Blu-ray. If you have not already, please seek this one out. It's so great. Such a good movie. Oh, I love it. And the title, it's called Filth. One of the worst films ever made, featuring one of the best soundtracks ever made. Flash Gordon. Music by Queen, and that's all you need to know. Fury by David Ayer, probably his best film to date. I love this movie so much. It's such a fantastic film. What makes this film so compelling is it doesn't really offer you likable characters or makes you relate or care for these characters, but it asks you to understand why these men have become the way they are. It showcases that war has different tragedies, not just death and violence, but men who survive and men who endure during a war change. They become something else. They become emotionally stunted killing machines that are horrible people in a way, but at the end of the day, when push comes to shovel, they will step up and defend that which they believe in, or defend the innocent, basically. And that's what this film is about. Fantastic performances. Shia LaBeouf is amazing in this film. What a fantastic performance by him. I wish that he wasn't such an asshole in real life, and I wish he could do more like this, more stuff like this. It's a fantastic film, fantastic action sequences. The tank battles are amazing. The sound design is great. It has some pacing issues, and most notably the dinner scene, which I love on its own, but it does just mess up the pacing quite a bit. It takes out any momentum the film had going for it, but then it picks up again in terms of action and suspense at the final act, which is amazing. It's like one of the best war sequences ever put to film. It's not as good as Saving Private Ryan, but which film is at this point? Saving Private Ryan is like god tier. It's iconic. It's a landmark in cinema. But Fury is a damn well made just war film, which I just highly recommend you watch. It's David Ayer's best film, in my opinion. And of course the back, which has Fury, the tank, and the line, "War never ends quietly," and that's kind of true. The Heisei trilogy for Gamera. Love these films so much. Fantastic and beautiful artwork. I'm a sucker for kaiju films. So, Ghostbusters, one of the best comedies ever made. Fantastic film. Ghostbusters 2, considered to be a bad film, or certainly a disappointing one. And it's not as good as the first one, but I still do really like it. It's Ghostbusters. Like, I like these films for what they are, and the artwork on this one is beautiful. Look at the artwork, just great. Ridley Scott's Gladiator, Russell Crowe. Fantastic film. Joaquin Phoenix steals the show in this one. A very old steelbook, as you can tell, because it has all the information on the back, which they tend not to do anymore. Godzilla 3D. Godzilla. Godzilla 4K, the recent addition to the family. So that's 3 steelbooks now for this film. Godzilla King of the Monsters 4K. King Ghidorah on the back, of course. Godzilla King of the Monsters 3D steelbook. Not my favorite, but it's in the collection. Clint Eastwood's Gran Torino. Fantastic film. Really, really great. And what a performance by Clint Eastwood. He's so great in this film. And the themes and what the film is about is such a... it's so heartwarming. And I just implore you, please watch this film. It's really, really great. Groundhog Day. One of the best comedies ever made. Hilarious. Would probably not have been made in today's landscape, political and culturally. Goodfellas by Martin Scorsese, part of the iconic moments by Warner Brothers. Very simplistic design, but it's a steelbook for one of my favorite films, so I had to pick it up. Hacksaw Ridge by Mel Gibson. Fantastic film, gritty, bloody, violent, showcasing the horrors of war, and it's basically 2 films. The first part is the story about a man standing up for what he believes in and just planting himself like a tree and holding on to those principles, and the second part is one of the most disturbing war films I've ever seen. Mel Gibson directed the living crap out of this movie, and I'm so glad that he's directing great films like he used to. And the steelbook is pretty awesome. And Andrew Garfield is always a win. Fantastic actor. Halloween 2018. I like this film. And why do I like it? Probably because I haven't seen any of the other Halloween sequels, which, from what I know about the other Halloween films, this film kind of borrows certain kill scenes from. The toilet sequence I remember seeing in a Halloween sequel that was on television, which I didn't watch, but I remember that scene, and I could be wrong, but I like this film a lot. It does some dumb things, though. There's a twist in the film that doesn't really work for me, but in terms of cinematography, direction, pacing, I love this film. It's really great, in my opinion. You might disagree, and you're entitled to. Hereditary, one of my favorite films of all time. Just brilliant horror film that is disturbing to no end. directed by Ari Aster, who went on to direct Midsommar, another disturbing film, but this is the better one, in my opinion. The Host. Amazing movie. I love this film so much. It's like one of the best monster films ever made. It's directed by Bong Joon-ho, who went on to direct Parasite, which is, yeah, fantastic film as well, which we'll get to later in this video. But yeah, The Host is amazing. It's one of the best monster films ever made. I love this film. It's manages to do something that seemingly is impossible, to be funny, dramatic, and just heartbreaking at the same time. There's one scene in particular, you'll know it when you see it, that manages to be funny and legitimately heartbreaking and just sad at the same time. It's something that's hard to explain without you actually seeing it. It's really, really great. I Am Legend. Will Smith with a fantastic performance. Wish that the infected were not completely rendered in CGI, which apparently they were not originally, and they just mixed it up and at the last minute changed all of the infected by CGI, which I don't understand because it doesn't really hold up that well. Love this story, love this film, and this comes with the alternate ending, which is the better ending. Of course, it's the better ending. If you've seen the alternate ending, you know that it's the better ending because it actually wraps up the story and it completes an arc where our main character doesn't really see that the infected have their own little humanity in themselves and that they actually care for each other. And that alternate ending that is explained and explored and concluded in a satisfying way, in my opinion. And yeah, I love this film. Wish they could have done certain things differently, but the fact that the Blu-ray comes with the alternate ending is reason enough to buy it. So, Inception, the 4K Steelbook, Christopher Nolan, one of his best. Magnificent film, phenomenal, better than Tenet in my opinion. Another one for Inception, which has like my favorite cover of all time, but it has the just most disgusting back I've ever seen. Like, what is this thing? What is this cover? Like, what is this artwork? It's so bad. It's really, really bad. Like, this image looks out of focus and they look like they're planted in there with Photoshop, which they probably have been. It looks god awful. I hate this artwork so much, but the front is really great. Interstellar, one of my favorite films of all time. Obviously, Interstellar, one of my favorite films of all time. Obviously, Interstellar, my favorite Steelbook. Iron Man 3. I know this is random, but I have it. Jack Reacher, Tom Cruise, kicking ass, fantastic film with a legitimately compelling mystery kind of thing, and the opening scene is very disturbing and very well done. Yeah, I like this film a lot. I haven't seen the sequel, but from what I hear, it's not that great. Joker. Joaquin Phoenix in an Oscar-winning performance, and of course the meme on the back. Joker, 4K Steelbook, still in the plastic, and will remain in the plastic. Jurassic World, I love this Steelbook. I actually like the film quite a bit. It's not perfect by any means, but I really like it a lot. It's better than Fallen Kingdom because that film is such a piece of shit. Kick-Ass. Hit Girl is awesome. Nicolas Cage is Nicolas Cage, therefore awesome. This film is amazing. Love it. And probably my favorite part of this film is actually Mark Strong as the villain, who is so great.
Mommy, I want a kick-ass party, dumb little fucks.
So funny, so intimidating, so hilariously awesome. I love Mark Strong in this film. It's like my favorite performance by him. I love this movie, Kick-Ass. It's really great. Now, one that got away from me, it fell over on the shelf, is this one. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, directed by David Fincher, starring Rooney Mara and Daniel Craig. Fantastic film, disturbing, just right up David Fincher's alley. He directed the crap out of this movie. I love this one, and it's such a sad thing that this one didn't get a true sequel, because it's really great. It's such a shame that it bombed at the box office, because this one is really terrific. Continuing with King Arthur, Legend of the Swords. Oh man, I love this film. Guy Ritchie, just what a fun film. I really don't get that this film didn't make the money it deserved, because it's not perfect like by any means. There are some questionable decisions made, like there's a part on an island where Arthur has to go to an island to unlock the secret of a sword, you know what I mean? And it's like told through a montage, which could have been an entire film in and of itself, and it's weird that they did it like that. But Jude Law is also fun in this film, but his performance is iffy. I like it, but you might think it's too much. But I really do like the film, and the score in this film is so unique and so great. The action scenes are awesome. I just love this film. I really wish that it got the money that I think it deserved, and we could have gotten a sequel. But it's not perfect. Don't go into this film thinking it's a masterpiece or a hidden masterpiece. It's a fun, well-made action scene, and Charlie Hunnam is awesome. I like this film. The King of Comedy, the biggest inspiration probably for Joker, and the better film. Martin Scorsese, Robert De Niro, again with a collaboration that is phenomenal. One of the best performances ever put to film, and the Steelbook is amazing. I love this film. It's so great and so unique. I love it. Kong Skull Island 3D. Love this movie. It's so great. The cinematography, the action. Samuel L. Jackson. Oh, I wish he was the main character, or I wish John C. Reilly and Samuel L. Jackson had like more time together, because those are the interesting characters in this film. Brie Larson and Tom Hiddleston are both beautiful people, and I really do like both of them as actors, but their characters, there's not enough to work with here. That being said, it's a fun ride, well made, has a terrific soundtrack. I love this movie. I love it. It's fantastic. So much, in fact, that I bought it on 4K. This Steelbook is amazing. Look at the candy red color. And then the title is debossed. Yeah, fantastic. Lawrence of Arabia. A classic, which I have yet to watch. One of the best films of 2019. Le Mans 66, or as it's called in America, Ford vs. Ferrari. Just a stellar movie. James Mangold directed the living crap. I'm saying that a lot this episode, aren't I? Well, he directed the living crap out of this film, and Christian Bale, as well as Matt Damon, are absolutely iconically good in this movie, and the Steelbook is beautiful. Definitely seek this one out and check it out if you get a chance, because it's really fantastic, and it's a 4K Steelbook, so if you're lucky, you can still get it. Lethal Weapon. Shane Black, of course, wrote this film, and it shows. It's funny, charming, and still has some dark and emotional qualities to it. Yeah, Mel Gibson is phenomenal in this film, as is Danny Glover, and of course the back is awesome. Life, starring Ryan Reynolds, Jake Gyllenhaal, Rebecca Ferguson. Well-made film. Certainly not the best of its kind. Alien, of course, is so much better, and without Alien this film might not exist, but it's really a fun watch and suspenseful enough to warrant a watch at least. Mad Max Fury freaking Road, one of the greatest action films of all time, and one of my favorite Steelbooks of all time. I've yet to watch it in 3D. I don't have a 3D television. Magnificent Seven, Denzel Washington, Antoine Fuqua. Chris Pratt is awesome in this film. Yeah, it's a fun Western film. You're gonna enjoy it. If you like Westerns, if you like action films, this is a lot to enjoy. It's not perfect, and it's not trying to be. It's a fun watch. The Matrix, part of the iconic moments lineup of films by Warner Brothers. Very simplistic but effective Steelbook. Man in Black 3, a German Steelbook. Yeah, don't ask questions you don't want answers to. Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, one of the greatest action films of all time, only surpassed by sequels in the same series. Minority Report, Tom Cruise again, Steven Spielberg, fantastic science fiction, detective film almost. It's really great. I love this movie so much. Monsters by Gareth Edwards, that's the name, Gareth Edwards, who also directed Godzilla 2014 and Rogue One, a Star Wars story. This is where it all began for him. A really well-made film. Don't go into it expecting a monster film. It's has monsters as a backdrop for a love story of sorts. Love this film. It looks stunning. It's a masterpiece of indie filmmaking in my opinion, and the Steelbook is beautiful. The Mummy trilogy, Brendan Fraser in his heydays. Love the first one. The second one is decent. The third one I have not yet seen. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I have yet to watch this one, but it's a Coen Brothers venture if I am not mistaken. Just take my word for it, I guess. Old Boy, of course. Again, we've seen this one. We've talked about it a lot. I love it. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Quentin Tarantino's 9th directorial effort. And one of the greatest endings ever put to film. Overlords was supposed to be part of the Cloverfield franchise, and thankfully they decided against that, which also kind of meant that this film didn't really get the marketing or the hype it deserves, because it's a fantastic horror film, just so well done. I love this movie so much. I've seen it 3 times now, and every time I watch it I love it even more. So if you could just check it out or just watch it, support it any way you can, because it's a really, really well-made film. I love it so much. And the blood splatters being actual parachutes, what a great touch for a Steelbook. So, Pacific Rim by Guillermo del Toro. Again, I'm a kaiju fan, and this is the perfect film for that. Parasites, we've talked about it a few moments ago. Beautiful Steelbook. This is the 4K Steelbook, and yeah, phenomenal film. What a just fantastic directorial effort, and a great film with an even better ending. Oh my god, that ending is everything. Oh, I love it so much. Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. We talked about this one on my wrap-up party video. Yeah, one of my favorites. A Quiet Place. I cannot wait to see the sequel because I really like this film a lot. And the Steelbook by Mondo is absolutely beautiful. You can peel this off, you can switch it around, put a title there if you want to, and it still works. Yeah, fantastic film. Not perfect, and you can nitpick it apart like Your Movie Sucks has done very effectively. Fantastic video. Please watch that. It's really great. Raging Bull by Martin Scorsese. Robert De Niro in his prime as an actor. Fantastic film, fantastic performance. The Raid and The Raid 2. 2 of the best action films of all time, in my opinion. And I think that's fair to say. Just insane action sequences, fight scenes are so well done. Oh, I love these films so much. Razorback. It's like Jaws, but in the Australian outback, and instead of a shark, it's a giant killer warthog, the size of a truck. Yeah, I love this film so much. Return of the Living Dead. Just awesome. Love this movie so much, and the fact that I own a Steelbook blows my mind, and it's a Blu-ray. I love this film. The Rocketeer, a superhero film before superhero films were the hype they were today. This film was a masterpiece in a lot of ways. The script is perfect. It's so well structured and realized. The direction is amazing by Joe Johnston, who went on to direct the first Captain America, and a lot of that was because of this film. It came with a magnet. Just give me one sec. A lenticular magnet, which you can put on if you want to. Which yeah, lenticular is always like, how did that become a thing with like Blu-rays? Lenticular. We all had like lenticular magnets when we were kids, and they're so cheesy and childish. But yet when we put it on a Blu-ray or a Steelbook, we're like, oh my god. Me too, by the way. I love lenticular magnets and steelbooks. I'm all about that, right? But why is that? Like, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. What a well-made film. So much fun. It's like an anime come to life on the screen. Just awesome. One of the greatest films ever made. The Shawshank Redemption by Frank Darabont. This is a 4-disc steelbook, by the way. Just great. The Shallows, a shark film that is actually pretty decent. The Shape of Water by Guillermo del Toro, of course, and who won the Oscar for Best Director and Best Film, which I tend to agree with. I think this film is really well made. This is the 4K steelbook, which I talked about in one of the previous episodes, like way back when. Yeah, I like this film a lot. It's not my favorite by Guillermo del Toro, and I don't think it's his best, but it's like, it's really well made. Sicario, Denis Villeneuve, phenomenal film, like such a great film. It blows my mind every time I watch it. It's so great. And Emily Blunt is amazing in it. Josh Brolin, of course. Oh man. Just a fantastic, fantastic film, which luckily got a sequel that was almost as good. Benicio del Toro, by the way, also really, really great. Sicario, Day of the Soldado. Saw this in theaters, was really impressed with how great it was. Not as good as the first one, Denis Villeneuve, and his special touch is kind of missing from the second one, but it's still really impactful, suspenseful, and a well-made action film. Action thriller with a focus on character and character development, and it's, oh, I love these movies so much, and I hope we can get a third one, actually. I really wish that we could get a third one, and that this story can continue in some way, shape, or form, because these films are phenomenal. A must-watch if you're a fan of action, or any of these actors, by the way. You should definitely watch them. Skyfall, directed by Sam Mendes. Fantastic Bond film. Fantastic soundtrack, of course. Spectre, also directed by Sam Mendes. Not that great of a sequel, but it kind of jumped the shark at some points. But it's still well directed in a lot of ways. But there are some moments like the plane sequence, the skating, Smoking Aces. Love this film. It's really underrated in my opinion. It's reminiscent of Quentin Tarantino, without ever reaching that level, of course. But I still think it's a well-made film with some fun performances. And Ryan Reynolds is really great in this film. His performance is actually pretty solid. Snatch by Guy Ritchie. Fantastic film. Great performance by Brad. Snowpiercer by Bong Joon-ho, also director of Parasite, which, yeah, you can tell this man is a talent behind the camera with this film as well. And Chris Evans is phenomenal in the film. Spider-Man Homecoming. Spider-Man Homecoming, lenticular 3D steelbook, still in the plastic and will remain in the plastic. Spider-Man Far From Home, 4K steelbook, beautiful edition. Into the Spider-Verse, phenomenal animated film, probably the best thing Spider-Man has ever been in. A Star Is Born, directed by Bradley Cooper and starring Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga. Really well-made film, great chemistry between our main actors. Star Trek by J.J. Abrams. J.J. Lansflair Abrams. This is not really a steelbook, but the fact that I own Into Darkness on a steelbook, as well as Star Trek Beyond, which is like one of my favorite steelbooks. Like, look at the color palette, it's so beautiful. Oh, I love it. Now it's time to dive into some Star Wars steelbooks. Starting off with Rogue One by Gareth Edwards. Probably the best, or one of the best, Star Wars films that has come out under Disney. Star Wars A New Hope, 4K steelbook. Empire Strikes Back, 4K steelbook. Return of the Jedi, The Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker. Regular steelbooks for The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. And Rise of Skywalker, like, this is like probably my least favorite of the original Steelbooks, but I still have it. Suicide Squad, fantastic Steelbook for a mediocre at best film. Why do I own it? I don't know, I can't get rid of it. And the back is terrible, by the way. Super 8 by J.J. Abrams, produced by Steven Spielberg. I love this film. It was so much better the second time I watched it, because the first time I went in looking for a Cloverfield film, which this is not. This is more in line with E.T., for instance, but I really do love this. The score is beautiful. This is like the closest Abrams has come to emulating Spielberg's style, and doing it in a successful way, I feel. I love this film. It's really, really great. Superbad, raunchy comedy. Love this Steelbook. Yeah. Martin Scorsese's Taxi Driver, starring Robert De Niro. Phenomenal film, cultural icon. Alongside with King of Comedy, one of the biggest inspirations for Joker. Tenet, Christopher Nolan. Phenomenal film in a lot of ways. Not his best in others. The exposition, it's too much to bear. Tenet, 4K Steelbook, second one I have. This is my favorite Steelbook. I love this one. The Terminator, James Cameron, Arnold Schwarzenegger, iconic, one of the greatest action films ever made. Terminator Salvation, might do a review of this one in the future, because I wanted to do reviews on this channel at some point. And I feel this is a film to start with, because I actually really like this one quite a bit, and I don't really agree with the hatred this film gets, because in a lot of ways it's a well-directed, well-acted film with some great action sequences and some stupid stuff, obviously, which is to be expected from a McG film, but I think this is the best film that McG has ever directed by far, and it's actually really good in my opinion. Thor Ragnarok, one of the best MCU films to date, and with a lenticular magnet. 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, one of the best written films I've ever seen. Phenomenal film, just amazing performances by our three leads, Frances McDormand, Woody Harrelson, and Sam Rockwell, all of them bringing their A game to this film, and it shows, because it's like one of the best films that has come out in recent years. This is a 2018 film, and it's like one of my favorites of that year by far. THX 1138, directed by George Lucas. This is director's cut, which from what I hear is doctored with and tampered with, and why, oh why are you doing this to your films, Georgie George? Why just not release them as they were intended back then? Or at least give us the option. I haven't had to watch the film, but I'm already kind of like, I wanted to see the original version. But I love the Steelbook. It's part of the Warner Brothers lineup of sci-fi Steelbooks, and this is, yeah, fantastic design. Very reminiscent of the 50s. Total Recall, Arnold Schwarzenegger classic, directed by, who directed this? Paul Verhoeven, of course. Yeah. Train to Busan and Soul Station, double feature. Phenomenal film, like one of the greatest zombie films ever made. You should definitely watch this film. Even if you're not a fan of zombies, this film is amazing. It's like 10 out of 10 material right here. I love this film so much. It's so great. One of the biggest disappointments of last year is its sequel, Peninsula, which is by far a bad film, but following this masterpiece with this CGI just fever dream, what a shame. I love the artwork though. Fantastic artwork on both of these Steelbooks, by the way. I watch it, but don't expect anything great. It's average. Speaking of average, Transformers Dark of the Moon. No words need spoken. Age of Extinction. Dog shit. The complete Transformers collection on Blu-ray, including Last Night. Last Night. Bumblebee. Like probably the best Transformers film in the series since Transformers 1. Tron Legacy. Love the Steelbook. Love Daft Punk. And R.I.P. Daft Punk. May you enjoy your retirement. And yeah, thanks for all the tunes. Anyway. Unbreakable. One of Shyamalan's best films. Bruce Willis is iconic in this film, and Samuel L. Jackson, phenomenal. Glass, sequel to Split and Unbreakable, which got a lot of hate. I disagree with. I think this film was amazing. Not perfect. There are certain things I don't like about it, but I still really do like it. Us by, I don't know, I want to say Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peele, of course. Yeah, very unique, very well made, well directed, and suspenseful, and it has like a fantastic performance. And yeah, I love it. It's really great. Venom! Cannot wait for the sequel. And that's not even a joke. Watchmen by Zack Snyder. Whiplash by Damien Chazelle. Like one of the greatest endings of all time. It's such a fantastic film. And the Steelbook is beautiful with the title debossed. Miles Teller and J.K. freaking Simmons just owning this movie. If you've never seen Whiplash, if you're not a fan of jazz music, if you're not a fan of music, if you're not a like, this is a film that you must see at some point in your life. Whiplash is iconic. Wreck-It Ralph, Mondo Steelbook. Watch it with my wife. We both loved it. Zombieland, ugly ass Steelbook for a fun film. Zombieland Double Tap, 4K Steelbook. This film is amazing. I heard some negative reviews and some mixed reviews, and the consensus was that the film wasn't that great, and especially not as good as the first one. Which, yeah, it's true. The first one is better, but the second one is hilarious. I laughed so hard. Madison in this film is like one of the funniest characters in recent comedy history.
Madison.
She's so hilarious. And what a performance. I love that actress. I love that character because she has to ride that line. She can be so annoying, but it's purposeful and it's endearing and charming. I laughed out loud several times with this film. I think I laughed more with this one than with the first one. So what does that say about me or this film? Yeah, the first one is better in some ways. There are some decisions, some character decisions and arcs in this film that I kind of don't really mesh with the original. But that aside, I really do like this film a lot, and Madison steals the freaking show.
Madison.
We are almost at the end of this collection video. We have to do some special collector's editions that have, you know, been discussed in previous episodes, but for completionist's sake, I wanted to discuss them in this episode as well because they are technically steelbooks. So, 1 second. The Blues Brothers. John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, in this collector's edition, which I've talked about in the previous episode, but so I'll just show off the steelbook, which is stunning, by the way. One of the best comedy films ever made, so definitely seek this one out. Top Gun. Also mentioned this in the previous episode, so I'll quickly show off the steelbook so you can go on your merry way. Top Gun, cannot wait for Top Gun Maverick. And the steelbook is beautiful, stunning. Love the artwork. And it's a 4K steelbook, so I'm really happy with that. The Big Lebowski. This is a weird one. I'm gonna have to unpack this one. This is this is the 4K steelbook, which comes with a sleeve, which is a sweater. But the steelbook itself is absolutely beautiful, and yeah, it's like one of the best comedies ever made. It's iconic. The dude is iconic. Jeff Bridges just owning this film so hard. It's such a stupid thing. I really hate it, but I love it. You know what I mean? It's such flimsy. It's so flimsy, but you know, protection for your steelbook, very important. Now, to top off this steelbook video, let's discuss the Titans of Cult editions really fast. This is Ready Player One. Steelbook is absolutely beautiful. Pacific Rim, talked about this one in the wrap-up party video, the collector's editions video. So the steelbook is beautiful. Look at that. 2001: A Space Odyssey, same deal. Talked about this one in the previous episode, so we're gonna make this quick. Beautiful 4K steelbook, and the film is iconic. Goodfellas. Look at that. V for Vendetta. Beautiful steelbook with a slipcover. Blade Runner: The Final Cut, the first release by Titans of Cult, which I talked about in a previous episode. And The Void Kampf Machine. Beautiful steelbook, beautiful movie. Not perfect story-wise, I have some complaints, but visually the film is absolutely stunning. So that was my collection of Titans of Cult films, and now to truly top off this video, I want to showcase my favorite, absolutely most cherished steelbooks that I own. They're on the top shelf right there, and there's 2 of them, which I want to show off. So get ready. First up, we have Day of the Dead by George A. Romero, the Arrow Video steelbook, which I paid out of my ass for. It's really expensive, and in my opinion, it's worth it because it's like one of my favorite films of all time, and to have this steelbook means a lot to me because I love it. I love the design. I love that Arrow Video just went all out for this steelbook, and I miss some debossing and stuff like that, but still, I love the design, the original poster artwork, referring to Dawn and Night of the Living Dead. I love this film. I think this is like one of the greatest horror films, and especially zombie films ever made. And to have this steelbook in my possession just gives me goosebumps every time. Blade Runner 2049, the Mondo steelbook. This is stunning. Just a beautiful, amazing movie, like one of my favorites of all time. Probably my third tattoo idea, which is still pending. I don't quite know what to tattoo yet, but I know I want it to be something out of this film. And the artwork on this one is stunning. Like the details on these characters, and oh man, the color palette, the purple, the neon, it's so beautiful. And by far my favorite steelbook out of the entire collection. So it's only fitting that this is how I end this video. Thank you so much for watching the new and improved version of my steelbook collection video. And to top it all off, there's Leo one more freaking time, being adorable as hell and saying hi to you all. So look at the majesty that is Leo DiCaprio. Look at the little feet. So thank you so much for watching this episode of Blureel Studios. I want to wish you all good health, good times, and a lot of happiness. And I will see you on the next episode of Blureel Studios. Whatever it may be, I wanted to do this for quite some time, to do the Steelbook Collection video justice and to do it right. And this is the perfect way to do so. And I will see you in the next episode, whatever it is it may be. If you have any suggestions, leave a comment in the comment section below. And tell me which one of my steelbooks is your favorite, or would you like to own yourself. And I will see you in the next episode. My name is Glenn. You guys are awesome, and I will see you next time. Ciao! That was it. That was it. We did it. We did it. We got through it. We got through it together. You are the Sam to my Frodo. And sometimes you are the Gollum to my Frodo. A pain in my ass. But I love you so much. Alright, that's it.